Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out, join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.
Good morning and welcome. You've come to my live podcast, Fight CPS with Bob Pace. I'm your host. You found me on Facebook and to Fight CPS, and you've been taken to this podcast, and you just heard from my attorney, Vincent W. Davis. He has a special podcast this morning, and that's why I'm early. Normally, I'm on at 10 o'clock in the morning, Pacific Standard Time for 1 hour, and then again at 7 o'clock at night for 1 hour. But I have come on a couple hours early so that y'all can attend Mr. Davis's podcast. It's free, and you're welcome to do it. There are ways you can register. If you're part of the school, then you already are registered. But again, this message will play again from Mr. Davis at the end of my podcast this morning. Now, you have reached a room that we sit here and we talk about how to fight CPS and hang on to your children, or if you lost your children, get your children back. Now, the CPS that I call it is the Child Protection System. Every state, every county, it has different acronyms. I know in Arizona's Department of Children's Services, DCS. In Kentucky, it's called the Cabinet. In California, it's the Child Protection System. But whatever is the government entity that's a part of social service that is mandated by Congress to protect our children from abuse and neglect. That's why we are here. We're here to so that I can help you with your CPS case. Now, I have been in CPS myself. I've fought for 5 years, actually 15 years. The first 5 years, I had fought false allegations by lay people. And those lay people were my in-laws. I did not know that my wife's mother, father, her 3 sisters, and 1 brother would call in once a week for 5 years and make allegations. And then finally, the Orange County CPS had gotten tired or discouraged, or I don't know what the matter was, and they decided to come to my home, and they got involvement with the local police. You know, it's a hard thing to be involved in CPS. Now, I'm a family man. I'm not an attorney. I'm a man that was in CPS and fought them, and I've been fighting for 15 years. My children were taken in 2015, and it was a 3-year battle. And I did have Mr. Davis as my attorney. That's what helped save me. But you're probably at this part of your life, I don't know, because a lot of you come from different backgrounds, a different part. Now, I reach everybody in the United States and around the world. I've had 15 countries of people coming in and talk to me. I've had Bangladesh, New Delhi, India. I've had Lebanon in the Middle East. You know, that was recently. And then I've had Saudi Arabia. Then in the continent of Africa, I've had Liberia on the west coast of Africa, North Africa, and then Rwanda and Central East Africa near Lake Victoria. And then have had Mozambique across from Madagascar, and then the west coast province of South Africa. Then moved up north, I've had England, Scotland, Wales, part of the United Kingdom. And then I've had Denmark and Sweden. And then across the pond, I've had North America and have had several provinces in Canada multiple times, either text in or call in. And then I've had all 50 states, including Washington, D.C. And then south of the border, I've had Mexico. And then down in South America, I've had Grenada on the east coast of South America, above Brazil, north of Brazil, and east of Venezuela. Then across Pacific, I've had the land down under, Australia. I've had the Sydney area of the Gold Coast, which is the east part of Australia, New South Wales. And then I've had the south coast of Melbourne, and that's in the state of Victoria. So those are the countries, and of course the states, all 50 states. And I've been doing this for over a year, twice a day, and Monday through Sunday. And the only difference of my times are on Saturday right now. On Saturday, I come on at 8 o'clock because Vincent's got that special podcast, and I want you all to attend it. That's at 10 o'clock. And then on Sunday, I go to church, so I do it 2 hours early, and so I do it 8 o'clock. And then on Friday night, Lights, which is high school football. My son's high school game is in the playoffs, and they have their first playoff game next Friday, so I'll be coming on at 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Anyway, I am welcoming you. I know that you have really tough issues that you're facing and decisions, and you need help, and that's what I'm here for. Unfortunately, in my life, excuse me, got to drink some water. That should do me better. I was been working for 45 years in 2010. And unbeknownst to me, I was laid off through no fault of my own. I had no choice about it. And it was a hard thing because I was 60 at the time. And little did I know I'd get involved in CPS. What had happened is that when I was laid off, I tried to save all my money to keep my home going. And I didn't have much saved. I lost half of my retirement through the banks failing really bad. And so I was struggling financially. And when I started getting these calls from the child protection system, I had no idea how that starts or how it's involved. I found out now it was my in-laws, my wife's mother, father, 3 sisters, and a brother. They were calling in once a week for 5 years, saying that we were not feeding our children, we were not taking care of them, not providing clothing, not providing shelter, not taking them to school, etc., etc. And I showed them the children's grade reports. I showed the receipts of paying the bills. I showed anything that they said that we're doing wrong. Plus, I allowed them in my home. I did not know that you could deny them access to your home or to your children. So everything seemed to be fine, but there's big constant going on and on. And if I knew now what I knew now, I would have nipped it in the butt there. But lay people can be really hurtful to other people. They use CPS as a way of maybe getting their access to the children. It could be a messy divorce you're going through, and one spouse is alienating the other spouse. You see, my CPS and a lot of the over 600 some people I've talked to, the CPS has gone rogue, meaning it's bad. Now, I'm not saying all CPS is bad because I've had 3 social workers on here that have told me how they did things and how good that was. So, but with the people representation that I've talked to, it's bad. So you're going to find out that they're in there strictly for the money. And I know firsthand they're in there for the money. All they think about is their incentive and bonuses. So, like my case, my social worker, our social worker, was strictly about getting her Gucci purse every week, her makeup, her eyelashes. She'd brag about these things: clothing, her BMW car, her accessories. It was like constant like that. And at first, I was using the wrong attorney. I was using what's called a court-appointed attorney. I had no idea that they're only trained in criminal law. They're not trained in juvenile family dependency law. Also, they're so laden with other cases, like 30 or more, they don't have time to fight your case, and they don't know how to fight their case. And I was going nowhere with my court-appointed attorney. My wife had one, the children had one, and the child protection system loved that. I mean, this entity that's mandated by Congress to protect your children from neglect or abuse had gone rogue in the Orange County child protection system. And they were interested in making money. You see, they make trillions of dollars every year. It's a money-making thing. They're very corrupt. And they take your children whether in imminent danger or not. My children were in school, and they were taken from school thinking that they were in imminent danger. That was wrong, and I wish I'd known more. Now, I'd like to welcome Royal Writings. Hello there, and welcome to my podcast. And if you could tell me the location, where you're from, the city or the county, and if you're okay with me calling you Royal, if you have a first name, that would be nice, and then the state. And if you're from another country, it's fine. All I need to know is the province, as well as the city or the state, and of course the country that you're from, and so forth. And I can try to help you. This is an interactive podcast, meaning that there are 4 ways you can interact it. This first one is my room. You found the room, and you can be just a listener. There's right now 10 of you in my room, which is great. I welcome you all. And I know it's early in the morning, but maybe there's something here that can help you or interest you. So in this first way of interacting is you're taking notes and listening. You can use emojis such as thumbs up, hearts, smiley faces, or if you like this podcast, you can send me stars. Please check below to follow my podcast and write any reviews you'd please to do so. Also, if you want to be notified when I'm live, check the notification button. But you may want to do more. And so the second way of interacting with podcasts is what Royal does, is you can text a message to me. Now, the text a message, what you're going to do, and I'll put it there on the screen so you all can see it, is that you'll type in your comment or your question about CPS. Please, again, show your first name, your city or county, that's where the case was, the state. And as I say, if you're from a country, you're more than welcome to come in here and text your question about the CPS. People worldwide have problems with with and I've already told you the over 15 countries that have participated. Now try to be complete with your CPS case by telling your family structure. Are you a husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, lovers, or maybe you're just a partnership? And then what were the charges besides neglect and abuse? A little bit more detail on the charges. And then are both parents involved in getting your children back or hanging on to your children? Are you single parents? Maybe you're going through a divorce. Are the other parent abandoned the child? And then also, are the children the same mother and father? Do they have different mothers and fathers? And then what are the ages of the children, the sexes of the children? And then how were the children taken? Did you give them up to CPS? They come to your home, you go to their office. Those things are important to tell me whether you gave them permission to take your children or they gave you a court order, a warrant where they had to take your children. And then, where you at on your case? Are you at the beginning, the dependency hearing? Are you at 6 months review? Or are you, what step and where you at? And then, with that question about CPS or the comment, how can I help you? How can I help you? Now, that is the second way. A third way is to be a guest on my podcast. I love to have guests. And so it's very important that you contact my show producer. Her name is Grace. She works hard behind the scenes. And I want to thank her for her hard work in making it possible there. So that's important there. And you would just email her at grace@vincentwdavis.com. That's grace@vincentwdavis.com. And you just pick one of the days, like Bob's Saturday show or Wednesday show, and then it's morning or evening podcast. And she'll send you a link to StreamYard. StreamYard is the application I use when I do my podcast on YouTube. And so hang on to that link in case you get knocked off because you reuse that link again. It's good for the show. Also, she'll help you what you can do and not do, such as smoking or eating on the show. You're not allowed to do that. Also, we don't use the names of children, social workers or judges. We don't use the first names or the names, I should say first name, the names of those. And then she'll also tell you about your sound and lighting and try to use a computer. Phone is okay, but a computer is best. And then one thing that's nice to be a guest is that after the show, you're eligible for a time with Vincent Davis, a private one-on-one consultation Zoom meeting with Mr. Davis for 15 minutes. Let me get my water out here. So that's a benefit. You get 15 minutes free time with Mr. Davis if you're on as a guest. I'm trying to help get people here on the show so they can be a guest here on the show. So that's the second way you can interact with this podcast. And again, I want to say good morning to Royal. I have no idea where you're from, but it'd be nice if you could tell me where you're from. And also text me about your case or how I can help you with a question or comment that you may have. A question or a comment you may have. Now, a second way that you can, a third way you can interact with this podcast. Right, I'm sorry, we're on the fourth way. First way was being in this room. Second is to text a message to me. Third way is to be a guest. And now the fourth way is you can call in. And that makes my show, it is live. You can call in at 626-698-0990. Now, with that being said, it's important when you call in that you speak loudly so I can hear you, and that you would just be live, and you can help me with the podcast, answering questions with people, and doing whatnot with the people there. So that's the fourth way. So there's 4 ways you can do this podcast. And I want it to be part of your room. I want to help you. I'm a family man. I'm not an attorney. And I've been married 42 years with 2 marriages, one for 10 and one for 32. And I have a lot that I've experienced with children. Now, I too have been in CPS and fighting them for a long time. It's been a hard battle with my case, because for the first 5 years, as I told you, I had a constant call in by lay people who were my in-laws. And then 5 years later, they took my children. And it was amazing how fast that they could take your child. Now we have someone that made a comment here. I hope it was. Yes. Hey, okay. R. Ken, welcome. You're from Liverpool, United Kingdom, and you've had your children taken too. Welcome from Liverpool, from the, England part of the United Kingdom. And can you tell me more about what happened with your case? And I'll sit there and try to tell you, so that I may help you there. And so, you can start from the beginning and tell me about your case, and I can try to help you. I know that one of the most important things is to have a lawyer representing you. Now, the court-appointed ones are not going to be helpful to you at all in your case. They're not going to be helpful to you at all. And why did they take your children into foster care. I mean, they usually do not take a child unless they're in extreme danger. That's usually the norm. They want you to stay because the best place is the kids to stay, the biological parents to raise the kids. It's very difficult, and they find that the best parents are the biological parents to raise the kids. But apparently, something you did, neglect or abuse, has taken the kids from you. Now, one of the things is, I don't know what the child protection system is called in your area at um, Merseyside, Liverpool, United Kingdom. Now, I know where Liverpool, United Kingdom is, and that is a tough area in there. That's a tough area there. Very tough area. But I warmly welcome you, and I know that Ken, that it's really hard right now when you lose your children. And if you can type me some more about your case, I can try to help you. Now, all the people that recently have joined my room, a warm welcome again. In order for me to help you, I need to know a little bit about what has happened to you in your case and how it can help you. And the questions will help me gear on that. Now, I have developed 5 rules in my case that I have discovered that I wish I had followed or wish I had known at the beginning of my case. And let me go ahead and take it down there. It is a hard thing. Some people take weeks before they can open up about their case. I know it's a hard thing to swallow, and I've been there. But the kind of the social workers that you're dealing with are bad. These that I've experienced in Orange County, California, or Los Angeles County, or Riverside, or San Bernardino County, it seems like the majority of the CPS workers are corrupt, and they're only interested in is money. Our state is so rich of money, it's ridiculous. And CPS has learned a way of doing so by taking your children against your civil and constitutional rights and put them into foster care. So in my case, they were getting $20,000 per child per month. I had 3 of my 6 children taken, 3 young children. I have 3 older, 3 young. I have 1 in the 40s, 2 in the 30s, 2 in the 20s, and 1 in the teens. And my 3 youngest were taken at age 9, 12, and 15. And they were taken by a trick that the police department used to get into my home. And they were fishing. When they want to get into your home. It's like in the first time I had no trouble letting them into my home. I had nothing to hide. But unfortunately, I did not know that when my dad passed away in 2013, my mom has fallen suit a year or 2 later. I was trying to get rid of their belongings of 55 years of marriage. And so I had stacked the furniture in the boxes in the living room. And when they showed up in my house in 2015, and I was ordered by the police detective to come home because he had followed me, see me pick up my children. That child was with me all this time, going through this awful thing there. They had 5 firemen out front of my house, 2 code enforcement, 3 social workers, and two uniformed policemen and the detective all stand in front of my house. Now, I lived in a private neighborhood with CC&Rs, a mile from the beach, so I had a well-to-do home, and I had a very loving and giving family that cared about one another. But what they did is they destroyed me and my wife. You know, we've been married for 32 years and had 3 children together. She had 2 other children that came to her. One was 5 years old when I met her, and the other one was 20 years old. And he came into her life when he turned 20. And I had one child at 3 years of age that my first wife said, "You'll never see your child again." So I was already hurting with that arrangement. It was sad how that was happening. And um, I let them into my house, and they were fishing. They couldn't tell me what they were investigating for. They said they had complaints called in that we weren't feeding the kids, weren't doing this or that. And I already told them I met with them numerous times over those 5 years and showed them supporting documents and had my house and stuff. But they were in there. So they said because I had the boxes that my wife and I were doing neglect to our children because the boxes could maybe fall and hurt them. Where our youngest child, 9, was taller than the boxes, so I don't know how that would happen. And I know that furniture and boxes don't fly, and the kids mostly are upstairs in their rooms. They each had their own rooms. There was a family room that was they could watch TVs and play with what they want. We had a yard. We had a swimming pool. And code enforcement was trying to find something. The firemen were trying to find something. Firemen found nothing. Code enforcement said, "Oh, you got a loose nut on your gate." And that's easy to fix. They also said your yard needed more trimming. And I said, "Well, I've lost my job and I had to let my landscaper go. I can't afford it." And, I was still conditioned to do things, but at age 65, that's when they came to my house. Um, you're not like where you are when you're age 20. But anyway, that's no biggie. That's something I can get fixed. And the firemen found nothing. They could not find anything. And the social workers, all they noted was the negligence of the boxes. And I'd sit there, and that was really terrible. And the policeman went along, the detectives investigating went along with and turned his information on. Okay. Good morning. Hello. Can you speak up? I have a caller with 916. Oh boy. We had a caller in, so let me see if we can get him back again.
Thank you for your call. We're sorry that no one is currently available to speak with you at this time. We are assisting other patrons away from our desk, or we may be currently closed. In order to help us serve you better, we greatly appreciate any feedback you can provide. If you're calling to request that you be placed on our do not call list, please take a moment to leave a detailed message along with your name, complete address, and phone number with area code.
Please leave your message after the tone. When done, hang up or press the pound key.
Yes, hello. You've called a live podcast of Vincent W. Davis and Associates. I'm Bob Pace, and if you have a child protection system case, I'd gladly talk to you. Apparently, I think you're something else. So, this is a live podcast that you reached, and if you want to, you can call back. Thank you very much. Okay, I think that may have been a business call. My phone is also here to roll in calls that may or may not answered. So I don't think that was someone who's interested about CPS. So my case was terrible, and they took my children because they have now gotten to the point where they don't care if they're in imminent danger or not. Their typical MO is to take children right away, whether they're in danger or not. And a lot of you may have experienced that. And I'm sorry to hear that. Royal, when you came on this morning, it was nice to say hello. If you have something you'd like to discuss about the child protection system, please call in or get a hold of my show producer to set up a guest on my podcast. Now, remember, if you are a guest on my podcast or call in, you're eligible for a free 15-minute session with Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis is an attorney that's been practicing law for 35 years and fighting CPS. And I mean fighting. He is a trial attorney. Also, he specializes in juvenile family dependency law. That's the law that you're with now, dependency law. And it's dealing with juveniles and families. And he is an expert in that field. And he's also a fighter, a pit bull. But he's a nice man. He gives a lot of his free time. And he works out of Arcadia, but he'll go anywhere. He has cases locally, and he has cases in Northern California. He has a case in Oklahoma. He'll go to other states. And I have a phone number if you want to retain him right now. It's 888-888-6582. That's 888-888-6582. It's up on the screen. You can either call into my number and reach me. I use Vonage as my application on the internet for my phone. And we have had several people in the room, as many as 10. And I welcome you all warmly. Now, we've had Royal from somewhere in this world who said hello, and I want to help you. Also, we have Ken from Merseyside, Liverpool, in the United Kingdom, and I welcome you here too. So, if you have a CPS comment or a question, please type it in or call in and ask your question. I'll put you on speakerphone so everybody can hear, and we can discuss your case. We can discuss your case. Now, my case was a bad case. It got so bad that my children were abused in foster care. Foster care is corrupt. They supposedly have foster care agencies that supposedly train the parents that want to help take care of kids. But we got other parents that have alternative motives. They want a fast way to adopt the children. Foster care is a very fast way. You can become on the list by CPS. They give very little training, and you get a child within 6 months. And where the regular way, when you do adoptions, it takes years, and you have to be vetted, both state and federal. They have to do a background check. And so foster care has become corrupt. Not all foster care, not all CPS is corrupt, but it seems like there's a lot of you. And if 600 people is not a lot, to me, it is a lot of people. And I want to help you all to hopefully share things that work for me and that will work for you. I mean, I put together 5 rules, and I talked about hiring an attorney as one of them. That's the most important driving force. But you're going to sit there and say, I can't afford an attorney. I know they're a lot of money. I couldn't afford one either, but I sold my home to get Mr. Davis. And he got back 2 of my children. I waited so late that I lost my daughter. We lost her daughter. And it was sickening what happened with my daughter. Just to tell you what kind of social workers are out there, is that our social worker was on the stand testifying about my wife's sister and husband that wanted to adopt our daughter, which we didn't want to. And so our attorney, Vincent Davis, asked, what kind of parents are the parents these want to do the adoption? Do they have any domestic violence? And the answer to that question is that the social worker said they're beautiful parents. They'll make great parents for our daughter. And no, they've had no domestic violence. Well, she lied. She committed perjury on the stand. My attorney knew that, and so he bought out a folder with police reports, 30 of them, about domestic violence. Not only about the reports, but there were physical domestic violence. It was not a safe place for a 12-year-old child to be sent to. And so she was embarrassed. She got off the stand, and she was so embarrassed that she told us parents, you'll never see your child again. She retaliated. They do retaliate. And so she instructed our daughter, who at 12 years of age in California, you can emancipate from your parents. So she divorced her mom, her dad, her 2 brothers, both sets of grandparents, her aunts and uncles and cousins, the whole family. And then she was told to change her name, which she did. She had a beautiful first, middle, and last name, and she eliminated. And then on top of that, she got adopted by a foster care. And so she had her birth certificate sealed so she get a new birth certificate, and the foster care parents were put on it. And then she got a new social security card. Anyway, that was sad. That was really, 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 really sad. And I don't know how to say that gut feeling, but she's 22 now. She still doesn't talk to her mom and dad. She is talking to our sons. We encourage that. And someday we hope that she will come back to her mom and dad, who still love her very much. And it's really sad to talk about that. I know that you all have sad stories and worse stories, and I hope that you can share them with me. Now, this being early in the morning, it's probably maybe too early on the West Coast and maybe a good time on the East Coast or Central or Rocky Mountain time or Central time, wherever the time zone you're in there. But you have to be careful, these social workers. They are very corrupt. Getting an attorney, you have to, because it's like open heart surgery. If you know anything about open heart surgery, you're going to have a professional doctor open your chest cavity and take your heart and do work on it. They go to medical school, they get an internship, they get a license, and they mentor another doctor before they cut open you. That's what you need, that kind of attorney. You need an attorney, schooled and trained. And one way I do this with attorneys is you ask 2 important questions. The first question is, are you a juvenile family dependency lawyer? 2, have you ever sued the child protection system and won your case, a civil suit? Most attorneys don't fight CPS, and you need a fighter, someone that has done that. Then if the answer to that question is yes, again, there you go. You got an attorney, one of many that you can select from. Now, they're far and few, so you may have to call 100 attorneys, but you need a fighter. You need someone that has a proven track record, because they're the only ones that'll get your child back. you wait forever with a court-appointed attorney, and in the end, you end up losing your child forever. You'll end up losing your child forever. And I hate to see that. I hate to see that. It's a horrible feeling to love your wife and you make children, and then because of some false allegations, they rip and take your children away. They rip and take your children away. So I'm telling you, you got to be careful out there. I'd say that fighting CPS is like your Alice in Wonderland. You fell in the garden in the rabbit hole, and you met the Cheshire Cat. And the Cheshire Cat tells you to go to this room or that room. Well, that's what CPS is like. You go from room to room or worker to worker, and you do everything, and they're still not happy, or they still add more things to you or make your life. They bring you up, and then they crash you down. They don't care about feelings. They don't care that they're violating your constitutional or your civil rights. They're very bad at doing that. And so I'm telling you, you need to be careful of these individuals. You need to really be careful. And one way is to get that attorney. And I told you there's two ways. And besides calling that three ways, but a fourth way you can talk to Mr. Davis is that I've arranged a 30-minute session with him, a private Zoom meeting, and he only would charge you $60 for 30 minutes. That's $60 for 30 minutes. All you do, and it's scrolling along the bottom of my screen, you go to a website that I've set up. It's https://candly, CALENDLY.com/apps, APPTS, VWD/Bob Pace. You go there, use your credit card, reserve a 30 meeting, and it only costs you $60. So I've told you 4 ways you can talk to Mr. Davis. And also you can go to his podcast, which is a 5th way. So this morning at 10 o'clock, he'll be live for questions and answers. He has office hours during the week. He has his own room, his own podcast, Fight CPS and Win. But there are 5 ways that you can talk to Mr. Davis. And it behooves you to. You can call in at 888-888-6582. You can be a guest on our podcast. Talk to you for 15 minutes. Or you can make a phone call and you can talk to him for 15 minutes. And then, you can also, a 4th way is to have 30 minutes with him for $60 by going to that website. It's on the bottom of my screen. And of course, the 5th way is to listen to podcasts with him. Join his school. There's links on his message you'll see in a few minutes. Now we are 12 minutes away from ending the podcast. I have to go at 9 o'clock, and so that you guys get ready for his podcast at 10 o'clock and listen to him on that. Now, I've told you what a CPS worker is by my case. Let me tell you about another case that happened in 2022. In 2022, in a small town in Arizona called Prescott, Arizona. Now, that city is known, or that town's known, for 4 Billy Jack movies that were made there. It was a story of an activist who was trying to protect children that had no mothers and fathers. He had a school. He also was trying to help out Indian reservations there, Indian children, Indian people there. It was filmed in the 60s and early 70s. And so that's what Prescott's known for. But lately, in 2022 in Prescott, the social services there, the Child Protection System, which is called the Department of Children's Services, DCS, had 8 female social workers working there. And they decided to get pink t-shirts. Well, pink is usually associated with breast awareness, with cancer of the breast. But that's not what they were doing. They were sending a different message because on the front of their t-shirt, they had the words professional child kidnappers. Professional child kidnappers. And on the back, they said, parents, do you know where your children are at? That was a direct insult to families, to parents. That's wrong. That's what social workers thought of, professional child kidnappers. Anyway, they paraded around in Prescott at big stores like Kmart and Walmart and Target and Best Buys and Costco. And they all were sending a clear picture of what social service is. They're not protecting our children from neglect and abuse. They're kidnapping our children. They're trafficking our children. They're making trillions of dollars off our children. And it's a very corrupt system that needs to be straightened out. And people have got angry and done crazy things. I mean, there was one person, it was Nancy Schaefer out of Georgia, who's a senator who fought CPS for all life. She was in her 70s when she was murdered. Her husband and her were murdered. They made it look like it was a suicide, but it wasn't. Anyway, she wanted to change CPS completely. I would like to do other things with CPS. I would like to see us have a system where if people call in, they have to sign their name and they have to put it in writing before they're taken seriously. Because right now, when you call in as a layman, the child protection system knows them. And so it is hard. It is hard to talk, but they're so corrupt. In my case, and in the cases of over 600 people I've talked to. And I want you to be careful out there. Because these social workers in Prescott were caught and fired as well as the director. But that hurt the department because that left only one person to answer phone calls, to do investigations, to handle the department by himself. Because 9 people are eliminated. Now, they had the wrong attitude, and yes, they need to be eliminated. But I really want you all to understand that I'm here to help you. I'm here twice a day. You can call in. You can be a guest. You can text me messages. It's really easy to get help here and does not cost you anything. I share you my story and my experiences. And I'm open to everybody around the world, not only in the United States, but around the world. And I'll try to help your case. And we had one person from United Kingdom, from England, Liverpool area. That sounds a really sad case. And I appreciate him texting a message to me. Now, with remainder time, I want to go over my other rules. Rule 1 was get an attorney, and I'm talking about a real attorney. Rule 2 is you organize a notebook. An 8.5 by 11 inch notebook, 3 inches thick, a 3-ring binder. Stuff it full of notebook paper and get subject dividers. Organize your paperwork. I did. I had them on Post-it notes and envelopes and pieces of paper. My day runner, my phone, they were everywhere. My computer. It's important that you have it in writing is the best way to do it, the old-fashioned way. One of the most important documents is a timeline, an incident log timeline. You're associating with, social workers and police and school people and your other parents and even the children. What you do is you write down every incident in order when they started. You write the date, the time, the location, the people involved in the first line. On the second line, you make a summary of what the incident's about. And then the third line is you put the outcome of the incident. If you don't know it, you leave it blank and come back later and fill it out when you do know. Then you skip a couple lines, do the next incident, the next incident. 6 months, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, you're going to find that very helpful because you can find it. You won't remember everything. And you need to track, you need to document everything. And document, you can show the judge what happened on such and such a day, and you can use that in your court, in your case. Other things you can put in your notebook are your certificates of parenting classes, your certificates of program completions. You can put in your drug tests. You can put in any kind of medical papers, valuations of yourself or your children, and so forth. The third way is very important. The third one is you do not talk to social workers. You don't allow them in your home, and you don't answer the door. Now, they will come knocking. And if you hear a knock at the door, don't answer it. Too many people have been killed lately. Just look at the news by answering the door. Also, if you answer the door, it's a social worker, they're going to want to be inside. They want to fish. They want to look for something. Now, most of the time, if you don't answer the door, they'll leave a message, a business card. You're going to have to contact them. But what you could do is call them up and say, I have an attorney that needs to be present, and we can meet at Starbucks or McDonald's. You need to go to a public place so that you can record anything that's transpiring in a public place. And always best to ask beforehand it's okay to record. But if you go to your home, they're going to look around your home. They're going to go through, they'll search your underwear drawer. I don't know why social workers are infatuated with underwear drawers, but they go there. So they're going to look for something. So you don't want them in your home. And you certainly don't want to go down to the office because you bring your children, they'll take your children. They're not afraid to. They can use the police as intimidators. They can use the police are heavily armed, combat boots, and fatigues. They look really intimidating. That's how come they use the police. So you got to say no to them. And if you meet them outside, tell them that, hey, look, I need to have representation. What is your name and your number? I'll get back to you. Or you can tell them, please schedule a meeting with me at Starbucks or at McDonald's. Let them schedule a time. But it's really hard. And there's also, there's
Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out. Join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.